logic, you have the first one that says if, true, then. So I'm just gonna drag this one out so we can look at it. I'm gonna put it in my forever loop. So right now it says if something is true, then it's gonna do something. So if I were to run this program, if something is true, so we haven't established what we want to be true, but if, let's say, I don't know, let's say if we touch the touch sensor, if that's true, so that means we touched it, then it's gonna do whatever is inside that block. So whatever is inside this area. But if it's not true, then it's just gonna continue the program. So anything that we put on the bottom. So I'm gonna just delete my on start block. We don't need that. We're gonna use the forever block because we want this program to keep on running. So if you guys look at my robot on my other screen, I have one touch sensor, and some of you guys might have two, but I only have the one. So we want to program our robot to go forward, to keep on going forward, and when it hits a wall, we want it to move back and maybe, let's say, turn left or turn right, and then keep on going forward. So that's what we're going to program. So right now, all of our program just says that it's going to keep on going forever, and if something is true, then it's going to do something. So we haven't put what we want to be true. So I'm going to go into my sensors tab, so the second one, and I'm going to bring out the touch. So in sensor, I'm going to bring out the last button, and I'm going to drag it into where it says true. So just like that. And make sure you guys have your touch sensor plugged in and on your robot. All right, and let me know when you guys have put in this code. All right, do you guys have this so far?
Your screen is locking up, so we haven't seen any change
I'm
yet.
sorry?
We just have that.
Yeah, I waited. Yeah.
We're ready.
All right. So now our program says if our touch sensor, which is on port 1, so that's what that 1 means, is pressed, and it's going to do whatever is in this block. So we said that we wanted to avoid wall. So when this is pressed, that means we've hit a wall. So when we hit a wall, we want to back up and turn, right? So that's what we're going to put in here. So when this is pressed, so when we hit a wall, that's basically what it's saying. We want to back up and turn. So I'm going to go into my motors tab, and I'm going to click on steer motor since you want to move both wheels. So I'm going to take out a steer motor block, and I'm going to put it in here. I'm also going to press the little plus button to get some more settings. So right now, if we hit a wall, it's just going to keep on going straight, which is not what we want it to do. So we want it to move back first. So I'm going to make the speed, instead of 50, -50. So that way it's going to move backwards because we don't want to let it keep on moving forward. And we're going to do that for 1 rotation. All right, so now I'm gonna go back in my motors tab, and I'm gonna take another steer motor block, and I'm just gonna put it at the bottom, so after our little if statement. And I'm also going to press the plus button. And I'm going to type in just 1 rotation. All right. So right now, what our program says is it's going to run forever. So everything inside this forever block, it's going to keep on doing infinitely until we stop the program. So right now, when we run this program, it's going to, every time it runs, which is an infinite amount of times, it's going to look first to see if this touch sensor is touched. So if it is touched, it's going to move back 1 rotation. But if it isn't touched, it's just going to keep on moving forward. So right now, if I were to download the program, it would move forward. If it hits a wall, it would just move back and then keep on moving forward. But we want ours to turn. So where do you guys think we're going to put the turn in here? Are we going to put it after the if statement or inside the if statement? And why? Any ideas?
Can you repeat that again?
All right, so right now our program says if the touch sensor is pressed, it's going to move back 1 rotation. But after that, it's just going to keep on moving forward. But we want ours to turn and keep on moving forward so we can go another way. So where do you think we're going to put that turn? Are we going to put it after the if statement or inside the if statement?
Inside the if statement.
All right, why do you think that?
Because if we put it in the forever loop, it's just going to move backwards and it's going to keep on turning and turning and turning until the touch sensor is pressed.
Yeah, so we want the turn to happen only when we hit a wall, right? We don't want it to turn, we just want it to keep on moving forward. But once it hits a wall, that's when we want it to back up and then turn. So we won't, since we only want it to turn when we hit a wall, we're going to put it where Karthik said, so inside the if statement. So I'm going to go to motors, and remember last time we talked about tank motors, we can use that to turn. So I'm going to take out the tank motor block, and I'm going to put it under our first steer motor block. And I'm also going to press the little plus button. And if you guys remember, if we want to turn with the tank motor block, all we have to do is make one of our numbers negative. So I can make the second one negative 50. And you can play around with it. Just make sure one of them is negative. So if you change both of them negative, that just means it's going to move backwards again. So it's going to be like our first block. So you only want to make one of them negative, and it doesn't really matter which one. It just changes which way you're going to turn, so left or right.
So if you put it like on the right one, then it'll turn right, and if you put it on the left one, it'll turn left.
So we'd have to look at it a little bit. So right now, let's see. Okay, so it's on B and C, right? So we can see the motors are connected to ports B and C. So look at your robot and see which one is B or C. So if your left motor, for example, so let's look at the little simulation here. So if your left motor, so this one is B and your right motor is C. If we make B a negative number, then it's going to move backwards and C is going to move forward. So that way it's going to turn left. So whatever number you put negative, that's the way it's going to turn. So if you make your left motor negative, then it's going to turn left. If you make your right motor negative, it's going to turn right. All right, so right now our program says we're going to go forever, and we have an if statement. That's our first block of code. And in our if statement, it says if we hit a wall, so if we press this touch sensor, and we're going to move back for 1 rotation, and then we're also going to turn. And we should actually put 1 rotation for the turn right now, because right now it's just going to not do anything. So I'm going to type in 1 right here. So we're going to move back and we're going to turn. So it'll turn left or right, depending on how you have your motors plugged in. And then it's just going to keep on moving forward. And if it hits another wall, it's going to back up and then turn. And it's just going to keep on doing this infinitely until you stop your program. So I encourage you guys to download your program and test that out. So if you have like a little hallway or corner with maybe 1 or 2 walls, you can try running your program and see what it does. Or you could just press the touch sensor and act like your finger is a wall. So I'm going to download that. So my program worked. Let me know if your program worked or if it didn't. So mine moved right when it hit the wall. You can also play with the simulation on the left and press the touch sensor and see what it does. So when I press it, yep, it turns and moves.
So what? See, there's something and it's turning. Or it's going to run with something else.
Aid,
Yep,
the program worked.
awesome. So did yours move left or right? Did it turn left or right?
Dad, what is it turning? Right?
What was that?
It's turning right.
To the left.
Yeah, left.
Awesome. So try and if you wanted to turn it right, try changing your number. So make the other number negative and make the other one positive. And that's how you can turn left or right. And if you increase the rotations, that would just change how much it turns. So right now, I'm not sure what angle it turns, just a random angle. So if you wanted to make it have more of a turn, yeah, you could just make the number higher, less of a turn, lower.
Yeah, it turned kind of well, more than 90 degrees. It turned.
More than 90. Okay, so you might have to.
It was more
make
about.
it lower.
It was more about 135 is what it turned about.
So maybe like try like I don't know 0.7, something like that.
You mean on the turn
It's
ratio?
hard to
You
get
said.
really like accurate turns.
You mean the turn ratio you would change? Oh no! Oh, there I see.
Rotations.
Rotations. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, because that's right. That makes sense because that's what we're controlling. And then you said to suggest trying the other direction.
Yeah, 0.7.
No, but did you also say we should try make it turn?
Yeah, if you wanted to turn the other way, just make the other number negative. So right now I have 50 and negative 50. I would just change it to negative 50 and 50.
Yeah, we're gonna do that and keep the steer motor still at 1 rotation.
Yeah, unless you wanted it to move back more.
No, well, all right, that's good.
Does anybody have 2 touch sensors on their robot?
All
right, so where do you have yours? Like one in the front, one in the back?
I took mine out.
Put it back in. It's
all right, Dad.
Yeah, put it on the back again. That was the whole point.
All right, so you could make this program to fit 2 touch sensors. All you would do is I could just copy this block, so this if statement, so I could just press it Control-C, Control-V, and then just put it right under this or before it, it doesn't matter. And all you would do is you would change what port. So if you had yours in port, the second touch sensor in port 2, I would click 2, and you might have to change how you want it to move. So instead of if it hits the wall, you don't want it to keep on moving backwards. That's what this program says. So instead of -50 for this first block, you would want to make it 50 because you want it to move forward. And then you would want to turn. You could keep the turn the same, and you could keep the moving straight the same. So that's the only 2 things you would want to change. So this program should fit 2 touch sensors. So I'll actually put 2 on mine and test it.
Aid,
Yeah.
how do you repeat the thing?
How do you do what?
How do you repeat it?
I'm sorry?
How do you repeat it?
Repeat what?
How do you repeat the program? It seems a bit.
Go to, so have you exited out of the program?
Yeah.
Just go to the second tab, so projects, and click on the first folder that says brick program save. So BRK PROG and then _save. And then if you click on that, it should have the program that you downloaded. So it should be the first one at the top.
Okay.
And the program saves all your program, everything you download onto it. So if you keep something, so like if I were to download this again, it wouldn't re-upload it. It would just change whatever I had before. All right. So has anybody tested it yet with the second touch sensor?
What do we have to change? 0, 50, 1, -50, 50, 7. Touch. Oh, we have to add a touch too. We have another if. I can't put it there because I have to put the. I gotta put this. I need to put it in here. I need one of these pink things. So. I need to put that there. I want it right here. Dad, it doesn't say. Dad doesn't say. It's got it right there. I don't know if yours is touch 2. Is yours in 2 or which one is it? Is that number 2? Yes. Look, what are those? It's in 2. Okay. Can we see his other screen? I ask him to go back to his screen.
Coach Aid,
Yep.
can you go back to the screen
Oh yeah,
that you were
sure.
on? We're trying to copy the thing.
Okay.
Software.
The software
program. If touch 2. So yes, we just need steer motors. Yeah, we just do the same thing. Steer motors, type motors. 051.
And so since this program is only saying we want the robot to go forward, it might be hard. It might look weird if it probably won't hit a wall. So you might just have to press it.
I got it right. So,
All right, I had my program worked. How about you guys?
we're working on it.
We're downloading.
We're working on it.
Okay.
No, it's 19. So wait a second, okay, once we're done, wait. What's going on? Why is it up?
And another thing, this program, it works fine, but if you wanted to make this a little more concise, you could go back into Logic and click on this second block. So this is an if and else statement. So this is an if else then. So this is like two if blocks, but in one block. So you could just take everything they put in the two blocks and just put it in this one block if you wanted to, but you don't have to.
Aid.
This weird thing.
Yeah.
Are you muted or not?
It doesn't seem to be working right.
When we
right.
download
All
when we
it
go into
does
hold on a second. The EV3, it's plugged into the computer, but it's doing this weird thing when we because we don't have it on Bluetooth right now. We have it plugged in.
Yeah.
Directly to the laptop. So when we drag out of downloads the latest, Lego Untitled, this one's number 19, whatever, onto the EV3 drive, it normally goes and the thing fires up and starts running, but instead it's disconnecting the EV3 as soon as it downloads, and it's turning the EV3 off. It's this weird thing.
So yeah, it does that for me. Like every time I upload, download something and put it in the folder, it like disconnects from the computer and then plays the program. And then when it's done, like in a couple seconds, it'll reconnect. But is it actually playing the program when you put it in?
No, we're getting this menu that then this window comes up that says disk not ejected properly. Eject EV3 before disconnecting or turning it off, which I did properly disconnect it before, but I don't know. So Sid, let's just see if it downloads that. See if you can actually run the program.
It isn't working.
Well, go take it and press the button. See if it runs. Right?
Nothing.
No, turn it on.
It's on.
Okay, what's that saying?
If you want to turn low battery.
Oh, you get a low battery. You didn't charge the brick. You think that's the case?
Yeah.
So your battery is low?
It looks like maybe he
Yeah.
hasn't charged his brick.
Yeah, haven't.
We can always put batteries in your brick.
No, Dad, we can charge it. There's a charger.
No, I know, but we can also put batteries in if we had to.
It's a low battery. It's only 1 bar.
Yeah. And if you wanted to, you could just plug it in. And I think, yeah, it should work fine. Like you can still plug it in and work with it. You'll just have a lot of cable connected to it. All right. Has anybody else tried with the 2 touch sensors?
Coach Aid, I have.
You have? Did it work for you?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, I'll leave this program up for a little bit and then we're gonna move on to a color sensor. So if you guys want to start getting ready for that, I'm gonna take off my 2 touch sensors and I'm just gonna swap it out with 1 color sensor in the front.
He's saying to take it out with both.
Coach Aid, can't we have all 3 of them?
You can, but it might take up space. Yeah, it's fine, you can. I'm just taking it off to have space. Yeah, there's 4 ports, so you can have up to 4 different sensors.
Wait, so this one's the color sensor, right?
Oh yeah, so that's a good point. So the color sensor is the one that has it looks like a camera to me. So it looks like this.
A security camera.
So it looks like that. Yeah, so it kind of looks like it has a camera, but that's just the little light, I believe.
Are you recharging it? Recharging it, Vanessa? Where's it plugged in? Okay, it is. Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna take the front touch sensor off and replace it with a color sensor.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. You can have like multiple sensors. So try playing around with like having multiple sensors and try to make them like interact with each other. So maybe if you have a color or something like that, and then you press a button. And I'm also gonna bring out 4 different of the little 3 beams. So I'm gonna bring out one that's blue, one that's green, one that's red, and one that's yellow. So these 4, like that.
I know a way to make them easily recognizable.
Make what easily recognizable?
So if you take like that green piece and then you combine it like that.
Could you say that again? I can't really hear you.
If you combine 2 of the green pieces using a connector piece, I think it's gonna be better for the camera to recognize it.
Yeah, it'll have more area, so it'll be bigger, and yeah, it might be a little easier to show to the.
Oh my God! As soon as I plug in my sensor, the sensor turns red, and it turns on, and it's creepy.
Yeah, so that's something with the color sensor. So that's the little, I don't know what to call it. I want to call it a camera. There's probably a more, I guess, electronic name for it. But that's what looks at the color and brings back in feedback. So remember we talked about how sensors are input. Our output. Sorry, input. Sensors are input, so they get information. So that light is getting information. So it's telling you what color something is.
Coach Aid.
Yeah.
My EV3 brake just turned off by itself.
Yeah, so it does that. I don't use it for like 30 minutes or something like that. It automatically turns off. Or the other option is that it's dead. It's one of those 2. So try turning it back.
It's charging
turn
right
back
now.
on.
It's charging right now. I put it on charge.
Okay, so then it's probably because you haven't used it in a while.
I guess
So
That's what it is.
tap the top.
All right, so does everybody have their little color sensor attached?
Sid, have you reworked yours?
What, Dad?
Have you reworked yours to make it work?
Have I put it in yet?
Have you, yeah, have you put it on your robot?
Haven't.
Okay, get going.
What pieces did you say to use?
So do you still have your touch sensor attached? I just swapped it out.
Yeah, just swap it out. You have all your gear, your hanging gear. Just hang it off there instead. Just take this off and put it there instead.
Coach Aid, can I do
Yeah.
this? Like when it detects the color blue, it makes a face.
Yeah, you can program it to do that. So like, yeah, if it detects different colors, it can make different expressions.
Oh yeah, show mood. I don't like it. I'm just gonna make him angry.
One question.
Yep.
My color sensor has really never worked. It's worked, but it hasn't detected the right colors.
So could that be maybe a programming issue? Maybe you
No,
didn't.
it's not a programming issue.
It's not.
I tried to program directly from Lego for it, and it didn't work.
Okay. I'm not sure. Does it? I don't think it comes with two color sensors.
I'm not
So
really.
it's never worked, like not once.
I don't remember. I didn't really use it for the first few years that I had EV3. I've had my set for a while. I got it back like when I was a little kid, and I didn't use the sensors back then. I just used the IR beacon to remote control it. But then when I started thinking about using the color sensor, I made this entire awesome line following robot, but it wouldn't work because it couldn't detect the line. I programmed it well, so it's just the color sensor is kaput.
All right. So we'll try it today. If it doesn't work, then we'll know that.
Also, another question: does the Education Edition come with two touch sensors?
Yeah. So it comes with two touch sensors, and I believe one of all the other sensors.
Huh.
Oh no. Okay. So it
I
comes
really wish I had the Education Edition.
Mine has two ultrasonic, but I'm not sure if that's right. They look different. So yeah, I think it's two touch sensors and then one of everything.
Two ultrasonic would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think mine had two, but I think somebody just put it in there. All right. Does everybody have their upgrades, their color sensor attached?
Sid, why are these on here still? Why do you keep them on?
Okay, I'm like done programming my color sensor, and I'm just gonna download the code.
All right. Let me know when everybody is ready, and then we can start programming.
Why can't you just put it on? Just like you have the other one. You're using this one. Just put this one. Oh, what are you doing? You don't need both. You have plenty of these. There's no reason to take these out. You've got lots of them. Just get more of them. Right? Right? You just do that. You'll be all right.
My internet connection is kind of unstable.
I can hear you perfectly.
What's going on? Why do you need this out? What's going on? What do you help with? You did? Why? You did say to keep it on?
All right, is everybody ready?
This keeps disconnecting.
Yeah, I'm just programming right now.
Is your battery charging? So,
But Kemen, did you connect?
Or not?
Did you?
Why don't you turn it off while it's charging?
Yeah.
Charge faster.
Logan, there is a way to test if the color sensor is working from the port view. So you can connect the color sensor and test it, check it from the port view.
Okay, I'm doing that now. I'm working on that now.
Nina, if you don't want to take the robotic arm apart, you can still connect the color sensor to your robotic arm and test this program, okay? Okay, Nina?
Okay, but the robotic arm isn't really on wheels.
It will not move, but instead you can make it do the robotic arm. You have the medium motor. So if you show green color, you can program so the medium motor can open. And if you show a different color, you can program the medium motor to close.
Coach Aid,
Yep.
I actually programmed my color sensor,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very happy with it.
That's awesome. So what'd you program it to do?
So for the blue, it shows an angry face because it doesn't like the color blue.
Yeah.
For the color green, it shows, it makes this noise and then it moves forward like green is for go.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I put red, it shows heart faces and then it stops. And if I show yellow, it just, it makes another face. I forgot what face it was.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I hope you guys have your color sensors attached. So right now, I'm just gonna delete all the programs that we have here so far. You can go into a new project, but I'm just gonna delete it. And we're gonna start from scratch. All right, so a color sensor, of course, detects color, but there are 3 different settings for input that you can have it for. So there's, of course, just the regular color, so it'll tell you red, green, blue, or whatever. There's also another setting called reflective light intensity, and there's another one called ambient light intensity. So those sound complex. The one you mainly use is reflective light intensity. So in FLL, a lot of the times you might want to use a line follower, and a line follower is, I know on some of the FLL boards that they have black lines across the board to help you, to kind of guide you on a mission. So you might want to add a line follower program to your robot to make it follow the black line. And when you do that, you probably want to use the reflective light intensity setting. And all that means is reflective light intensity is kind of how, I want to say how bright the light, the color is, or how, yeah, how much it like pops out. So black would have a very, very low reflective light intensity. So it'd be close to 0, whereas white would have a higher reflective light intensity. And so that's kind of how you would program it. So you would tell it you want to stay within the lower reflective light intensity. And if it goes high, you would want to make your robot turn to follow that line. So we're going to start off simple. Let's just start off making a robot detect. Let's try reflective light intensity to start with. So I'm going to first go into loops, and we're going to use a forever loop because we want our program to keep on giving us that data. We want it to keep on showing us what's happening. All right, next let's look at first the sensors. So if you go into sensors, under color sensor, there's a lot of different blocks for color sensor. So let's just first start out with the first block, which says on color sensor detected, and then it has the color. So I'm gonna drag out that block first. And for this one, you don't need to put it in the forever loop, but you can just keep it out there. So right now this says when the color sensor detects blue, and then it's gonna do something. So if it doesn't detect blue, it's gonna do nothing. So right now we have that, and it's gonna do whatever is inside our loop. So we can let's make our robot move 1 rotation when it senses blue. So I'm gonna go into motors, and I'm gonna bring out the steer motor block. I'm gonna put it in our loop. And I'm gonna press the plus button, and I'm gonna just put it for 1 rotation. And before we download this, another thing to always note when you add sensors or even motors is you wanna make sure you're using the right port. So right now the default setting for color sensor is port 3. So if you don't have yours in port 3, you wanna change it. So mine is in port 1, same as my touch sensor, so I'm gonna change it to port 1. So right now it says when it detects blue, it's gonna move forward for 1 rotation. So download that and try it. And I would suggest when you start your program, try putting a different color other than blue in front of your sensor, and then try putting blue. So don't start out with blue.
Logan, was your color sensor working?
I think it's working.
Okay, that's
Like,
good.
what is color number 1? Black?
Yeah, if you program from the Mindstorm software, every color has a number.
I know.
So one, I'll have to check back in the software to see what color one is.
All right, so my program worked. Did you guys' program work?
Why'd you change to green? You didn't say to change that to green. You said keep it blue, but just put another color in front of it when you made it in front of the sensor. She wanted a different color. She don't want a different color.
And also, you can also use the simulator on the left and test it with it. So you might have to scroll down a little bit, but if you click on a color, it'll show you what it's going to do. So if I click on like red on the left here, it does nothing. If I click on yellow, it does nothing. But when I click on blue, it goes for 1 rotation. So that's another way to test your program before you download it, or to just simulate it. All right, did it work?
How many of you have it working?
Hmm?
Kemen did, okay, she got it. Kemen got it, Karthik got it.
Awesome.
And
All right, so let's try adding another loop onto here. So you guys have heard of Teslas, right? The cars?
They drive automatically.
Yeah, so they drive
Yeah,
automatically.
I heard of that.
Yeah, so they drive automatically. So what we can try to do is we can try to make a little mini replica Tesla. So when Teslas are driving on the street, they have to know when the red light and the green light is on, right? So we could use our color sensor to kind of simulate that. So if we put like a red light in front of our color sensor, it would know to stop, and if we put a green light, it would know to go. So we can try to do that. So I'm gonna change our color right here. So right now it's blue. Let's change it to green since that's the color of the light.
So we're having this problem with it downloading. I don't know if it's because you don't have enough power or what, but it keeps disconnecting incorrectly. It keeps doing this. Eject EV3 before disconnecting. I'm not turning it off, so it keeps turning itself off.
Coach Aid,
Yeah.
Are you sure it's plugged in?
it doesn't seem to be working right.
Yeah, we're just still having the same problem about every time we download it, we get an error message, so we can't get it to
work.
But we'll just keep
Try
trying.
turning off and on your EV3. And
Yeah,
maybe
I think that sounds
good.
good.
Unplugging it.
Let's go for that. So turn it off.
Yeah, I think someone said something. Karthik, I think.
Yeah, so when I try to like if I try to download my program to the EV3 brick, it won't make the changes. It just stays the same as the robot before.
Are you sure you made a change? Maybe you didn't make a change, or maybe you copied the wrong program.
I don't think so. Oh yeah, I did. Never mind.
Okay.
I copied the wrong program.
All right, so we could get another on color block. So if I go back into sensor, click the same one, and if I make it red this time I'm not going to put anything inside inside the block. So this is just kind of the same as what we already did. So it's just kind of more code than we need. But right now, all it says is that when it sees a green light, it's going to keep on going. and when it sees a red light, it's not going to do anything, which it did before. But what we could do is we could say that if it sees a red light, we want it to back up. So if I go into motors and steer motor and make it, instead of 50, if we make it -50, and I'm going to put the plus and make it go for 1 rotation, we can make it back up. And try running that. And also, if you guys wanted to get a little more creative, you could do a third color. So there's red, green, and yellow lights. So yellow just means they want you to slow down. So if we did the same thing for yellow, we could make it still go forward, but maybe instead of 50% speed, we could do like 10% or make it go for a slower amount. So let's try that.
Oh no. What does it do this?
And it's the same block, but instead of 50% speed, I'm going to change it to 10 or a really low number. And I'm going to download this.
We should have downloaded.
And let me know if you guys have any problems or if something doesn't work. All right. So I just tried my program and it worked. So when I put the red 3 beam, it moved backwards. When I put the yellow, it went forward, but it went really slow, like that. And when I put the green, it went forward fast. So did yours work?
Yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
we finally did. Put a different color in front of it. Put a different color.
Awesome. So let's try kind of something that we did with the touch sensor. So we're still going to make ours kind of simulate a Tesla, but I'm going to just delete all of our blocks here. I'm going to keep my forever loop. So I'm going to make my car just drive like it's driving in the street. And then when it sees the different colored lights, I'm going to make it do something.
Okay, and
So,
students
yes.
all can save your work, okay? Don't delete the block so you can work.
Yeah, that's just me. I'm deleting it. But yeah, I want you guys to click on new project to get a new space or whatever. Yeah.
Every time, make sure you save all your work, your bumper car, your color sensor, your Tesla car, all these models. I want you to save the programs that you did.
Is it fine if I like added a change to the bumper car and it goes when like it senses the green color?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes, so you could add, give your robot object avoidance and color avoidance. So you can make it stop and move backwards when it hits a wall, and you can make it just stop completely when it sees a red light. All right, so I'm going to go back into logic, which is what we used before, and that's our if and then blocks. So I'm going to click on the second one, so the one that says if then and else. So this is the same thing that we did before. The only thing is that it has the else. And if you click on the little the negative, oh no, I think it's the positive. So yeah, if you click on the positive, it gives you the else if. And all else if means is it's like 2 if statements combined into one. So if I say, if I put something in here, it says if something is true, it'll do that. If something else is true, it'll do that. So they're just 2 if blocks just kind of mashed into one block. So we could say we want our car to just normally keep on moving forward. So if I go into motors and put the steer motor block and I put it at the bottom of our program, it's just going to keep on going at 50% speed. It's just going to keep on moving. But if we introduce our color sensor, we could go into sensor and if you go down to this block, the one that says is color sensor and then detected, the one that has the little pointy kind of edges at the ends, if I drag that and put it in our first if statement, so like that, it right now says if a color is detected, which is blue for this setting, it's going to do something. So we want ours to be green. So let's try green for the first one. So if green is detected, let's say we want our robot to just keep on moving forward. So if green is detected, well, we're not gonna do anything. So else if we could do red. So let's try red. So if I go back into sensors and go to same block, so this block, and then we can change our color to red. So else if red is detected, then we can say we want the robot to stop. So does anybody know how we can make our robot stop?
By
So it's in motors. I'll tell you that.
by steer motors, B plus C turn ratio, 0 speed, 0% for 0 rotations.
That is one way. What we could also do is we
Stop all
could
motors.
click on the block that says, yeah, so stop all motor. So we could do that one and we could just bring it in here.
No, I'm not done. It's good.
But there's a problem with what we have here. So this is a forever loop. So it's going through this. When you look at forever loops, think about it. It's just going through this really fast every time. So it's just every time it's just detecting all of these really fast. It's looking and looking and looking. So if we say we want it to stop all motors, it's going to do that really fast. We're not even going to see it, and it's going to continue moving forward. So if you download this right now and put a red block in front of it, it's just going to keep on moving forward like nothing else happened. So what we can do is we can say we want it to stop and wait. So we can put a little pause before we do that, before we continue moving on. So I'll look for the pause. I think it's in.
Pause until something.
Yeah, so it's in loops. Or you could use, yeah, you could use break or pause. But I think there's a way to do it for amount
Show
of
you my
time.
masterpiece.
I have to reprogram everything now.
What's that?
I'm reprogramming everything
Why is that?
because I actually like figured I had to do something else, but then the program didn't work. So I like made this really huge block of code, and it kind of glitched out. So yeah, I had to restart.
Oh. All right, so we have this pause until true block. So we have to put something in here that we want it to be true to continue. So right now it says if we sense the color red, it's gonna stop all motors. So the whole robot's gonna stop, and it's gonna wait. It's gonna pause until something is true. So what could we put to make this true to continue? So when you're driving and you see a red light and you stop, what makes you continue after you stop?
When it turns green.
Exactly. So when it turns green, it'll continue. So all we have to do is we can go back into sensors and click on that exact same block and just put it in here. And of course, we're going to change our color to green. And make sure you guys change your ports to the correct number. So mine is 1.
1.
Depending on wherever you have your color sensor connected. Like Karthik, he has all the sensors. So make sure choose the port number where your robot is connected to. And a quick question, Logan, are you using MakeCode software or are you doing with the EV3 for block programming? Which software are you using, Logan?
Well, I'm using the standard EV3 programming language that Lego made.
But are you able to follow step-by-step programming, which IE is using? Are you able
Yes, I am. I'm still following that.
to working?
You can use it later.
Is your color sensor responding to colors? Are you able to see it in action?
I'm still working on that program.
How's your battery? Can you tell me what your battery is?
But I'll be done soon.
He's cleaning up stuff. Is he taking it away?
We are into the last 2 minutes into the program. To today's class.
Oh, okay. There was one more thing I wanted to show, but yeah, it doesn't seem like we have time. I can show it really quickly if you guys want to see.
Yes, please.
Color.
All right, so this was the program again. I'm sorry?
They've made the Mindstorm say different.
Oh, okay. I thought that was somebody talking. Yeah, so if you guys look at the left, you can simulate this. So right now, it's going to keep on going forward. If I click on the green, it keeps on moving forward. If I click on red, the motors stop, and you can see that. And then it doesn't continue until I press green again. So try that with your robot. And so since we're almost out of time, I'll show you guys one more thing. So the actual EV3 brick can display text and numbers. So
I know that.
yeah.
I made it say I don't like Skechers, and then I made it say a boo sound.
Yeah, so it displays text, so that's an output. So it's kind of like motor, so it's carrying out something. And what we can make it do is we can make it detect different colors and write the color name on the screen. So what we could do is, and you're actually gonna have to use an if block for this. So I'm gonna put this code. Does everybody have this written down or copied yet?
I'm still working on it.
Okay. I'll work on it to the side. Just know that they're two separate programs. So I'll bring out another for loop. And we're gonna have to put a bunch of ifs and if else's. So we would do something like this and say if, let's say, if a color is detected, so we'll start with blue. All right, so if blue is detected, and remember we want to use port 1, if blue is detected, and then we're going to make it write blue on the screen. So all you would do is you would go into brick, and you would go all the way down to where it says show string at line. So a string is it's a programming term for text. So string is any text that you can write. So right now it says hello world. And so that's text. That's something that we can write. And so you would put it in the little quotation marks. So I want it to say blue when it detects blue. And we can test that on the left. But I think there's two different programs, so it might not work now. But then we could do this for all of our other colors. So if I copy this and put it in here and change the color to red, we can say when it detects red, we want to write red on the screen. So red.
I'll send you the screenshot of this program, okay? If you don't get it now, you can later on even look at it.
And also another thing you want to do is you want to put a clear screen before each of the blocks. And all that does is it erases everything that was on the screen and it writes what is there or what you want it to write. So you put these two. And you just keep on doing this for all your colors. So right now I only have red and blue, but you could do it for green and all the other colors that you have for your for the 3 beams. Yes.
So, my color sensor thinks that the blue is green and the green is blue and the yellow is green and the red is blue.
So did you do it like this?
I'm trying to get the right one, Sid.
Because you probably didn't change the text. You probably just copied it, maybe. I'm guessing.
No, I mean, I'm not doing the text. I mean, for the Tesla model, I'm not.
Oh, you're still working on what's on the left.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's saying what?
It's like, let's say the color yellow. It's thinking that
Yeah.
the yellow is green.
So when you put a yellow brick in front of it.
Yeah, it's doing the program for green.
So do you have anything yellow on your screen right now? Or any of your colors set to yellow?
No. What do you mean by that?
Like on the left here, I have for the first one it's green, the second one says red, and the third one is green. Are any of yours yellow?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's probably something that you did. So where do you have yellow?
So, well, I mean, it's like, I use the loop for yellow.
Mm-hmm. So try copying what I have, just this without the yellow, and see if that works.
Okay.
That's good. Once you have this program
Where's
done,
clear screen?
to test this program,
Where's clear screen? How do you get that?
show us the update on it next class, okay? So you can do this program and have it completed, and in the beginning of next class, just like how you had the bumper card, you can share your work with us. And like Karthik said, sometimes when you bring the block, like the red block, too close to the color sensor or a different color very close to the color sensor, detects it as a different color, okay? So that happens. So we will be learning about calibrations and things like that to fix that in.
Oh, okay. I figured out the problem. I think I actually was bringing it too close.
Usually they say better to leave 3 penny gap between the object that is detecting and the color sensor, so it detects the right color. And everybody, I mean, Logan, do you want to share your screen so that I have an idea of?
Yes, I built it. I'll show it to you. I'll try to show it to you. Tell me when you see the EV3.
We're getting there. You see that? We're getting there.
Can you see the EV3 pretty well?
Not yet, Logan. I cannot see it now. Yes. Yes.
Okay, the color sensor's there. Here's my program. Wait, I just need to get the red and the green.
Okay. Awesome.
See?
Wow.
Awesome.
So that's good. After 2 years, you had your color sensor correctly programmed and working.
I figured out that the color sensor actually does work.
Yes.
That's great.
That's awesome. You're using a different software.
Well, nothing's been downloaded.
That's good.
Oh, it's getting me confused.
So with the program I have, you can simulate it on the right, left again. So if I like click red, it's gonna write red on the screen. If I click blue, it writes blue. If I click green, it'll write green. And I haven't done all the colors, but it does those 3 colors. So if you, yeah.
Is there a way to change like the size of the text on the screen?
Not that I know of. I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, there's no way to change it. It's by line. They're only they only go that big.
So could you do green, 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 green?
Yeah, you can write it a bunch of times. Like you could do that, and then you could bring another block.
Or you could just
do it
repeat
on a
10 times.
different line, something like that. Yeah, you can do that.
Repeat it 10 times.
Yeah, you could do loops for that. So you wouldn't have to do each individual block. If you wanted to do that, you would go into loops and put the repeat block. So you would do repeat, and then you put your string in here, and you would say repeat 10 times.
That's awesome. So you install it.
But it's putting it all on the same line. So you would have to use another loop. But that's a little more complex. You'd have to use a variable and then that variable in where it says line. But it's doable.
We already have it.
Change text by 1 and then show string blue at line text.
Yeah, so, and I'm pretty sure they have that kind of loop. Yeah, so this one. So this uses a variable. So the variable right here is index. So you want it from 0 to 10, and you would put the string in the loop, and where it says at line, you would put the variable. So where it says index, so like that, and it should put it 1 on each line. So what color is that? That's blue. Yeah. So if you look on the left, it does it 10 different times. But that's a little more complex loop. These ones have counters. That's what they're called.
We will learn in depth about variables in upcoming class. So for next week, all that you have to do is you can get creative in building. So now you have 2 touch sensors and you have 1 color sensor. So go ahead, position them in the right way and make it look like a super cool Tesla, a very smart vehicle, and we'll see your build challenge for next season. Okay, you can go ahead. You have like a whole bunch of Lego and look like a big super cool with a sensor. Give us a demonstration.